Okay. Hi, Nishi. How are you? So Nishi, also, we're going to look at some readings that people did today too. So if you have a reading that you've done during the week that you have a picture of, send it to me. Send it to my email and we'll look at it. And we'll talk about this more at the end too, but I'm trying to think of, like, I think I'm going to take a break next week, but I like teaching this class and it's not difficult for me. I've been doing the tarot for so long, and but I feel like I need to sort of think about how, hi Sheila. I was just saying that, I like teaching this class and it's not difficult, and we can talk about this at the end of the class. I'm happy to keep going forward. I kind of like, like having at least 4 people is sort of a good number. That's fine, 4 or more. And when it starts to be just 2 people, it feels, I mean, it's okay, but it's like doing that every week is a little bit so, and I have to think if this is the right time or the best time. So we'll talk about it at the end of the class. I would also like your feedback. If this is something that you can continue doing, that you want to continue doing, what time is a good...
I just ran 7 blocks. That's how much I want to do the class.
Okay, good. Like I said, this one is, yeah, teaching the Sanskrit one is a little bit more like, I feel like I have to prepare for it, but this one is like, I mean, it's easy for me to share what I know about it, the tarot. All right, so this class, but I do think I would like to hear from you all if you'd like to keep doing it. I will send out an email during the week. I'm expecting to probably take a break next week, but I'm fine with continuing this class. I would like to, if you are fine with continuing to do it. So let's look at some readings. So that's what I thought we would do today. We would focus on some readings. So Sarah sent me a reading during the week. She did a 10-card spread. And definitely, if we continue doing the class, I think we should move on to doing 10-card spreads, to talking about that. Because, anything can work. Doing a 2-card, a 3-card, a 4-card spread, all these are fine. But it's nice to know how to do the 10-card spread and to know how to read it. So I'm going to I'll start screen sharing. Sarah's reading is a little, the cards are dark and a little difficult to read. So I'm going to, Sarah, do you have it? Do you want to read out what the cards are? Whoops. Can you guys see it? Whoops, sharing is paused. Okay, can you see the
I can't actually see the lettering, okay. But I can.
I'm going to redo the share. Nope, that's the wrong one. The text is unclear. Yeah, the text is going to be, it's difficult. That's why I'm going to have, when we do it, and I have to see if I have it out again. Huh, I seem to have lost it. All right, excuse me. Oh man, now I have like, let's see. I'm trying to get out. Sorry about this. Okay. All right, I think I can just do, I'll do this. Okay, share screen. All right, now you can see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Sarah, do you want to read out what the card, so the first card that came up for her was the Sun, correct, Sarah? And then you're crossed by, is that the Three of Swords reversed?
Yeah.
Okay. Then above you is the Five of Coins.
Mhm.
Below is Justice. I thought you said Justice was reversed. Oh no, that's Justice upright.
Yeah.
Then behind you is the Ten of Cups.
Yes.
Just ahead of you is that the Six of Wands reversed, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, the card for you is your internal experience is the Three of Coins. The world around you is Strength reversed.
Yep.
The your hopes and fears is the Queen of Pentacles. And then the card that came up, the final card, was the Page of Wands reversed. And then also the Wheel of Fortune had been coming out a lot. So Sarah's comment to me in the reading was that a lot of it made sense and seemed really literal to her. And I can give my take on it. You can talk about yours. But the card that didn't make sense to her was the Page of Wands reversed. So the Page of Wands reversed also came up for Dana in her reading that she did today. And is there anybody else who's had the Page of Wands reversed coming up for them a lot lately or at all? Okay. What, Sheila?
Yes, yes, I had it for a reading I did today for a friend.
Okay. So, I mean, I'll just go through it briefly, and then Sarah also have you talk about it. So the first card for her, the Sun, was it the Sun upright or reversed? I can't tell.
Upright.
Upright. Okay, so obviously the Sun is a good card. The Sun is one of the best cards in the deck. So that also has to do with her experience, how she's feeling, that it's a time of growth. Crossed by the Three of Swords, reversed. So the Three of Swords upright is usually shows a sorrow. It's painful. You cry. Most of the time when the Three of Swords upright comes up, there's something that happens that makes you cry. But it's not necessarily bad. I mean, sometimes the Three of Swords is also sometimes called recognition. So it is usually the recognition of something about that you see something as it is, and that creates sorrow. You feel there is sorrow, but there can be a sort of freeing experience. The Three of Swords is not like, that sorrow doesn't linger. It's a clean experience. It's a clean experience of something that you recognize that makes you cry. So reversed, it can mean one of two things. It can mean that she's leaving an experience of something that was sorrowful. Well, it can mean that she's experienced something that's a little bit sorrowful, but not that bad. It can also mean that she's sort of avoiding the recognition of something that would make her cry, recognized. So a lot of times it's somewhere in between the two. There's something that that makes you feel a little bit sad, and it could bring up a deeper sorrow, but it sort of doesn't have to, you're on the fence about it a little bit. So there's the Five of Coins up above her. So clearly she's thinking about like financial loss, which as we look towards her inner experience has to do with work. So she's thinking most of the time when the Three of Coins came up in Sheila's reading, the Three of Coins can be about having a practical attitude towards your romantic life. But the Three of Coins is a card that is very much about work. It's about your sense of yourself as somebody who is good at what you do and does it and likes to do it and does it effectively. So what's really at the base of it is justice. So this we can add to knowing that like Sarah's in a kind of limbo with her work, that she worked at can I say, Sarah, is that all right? Yeah, she worked at teaching yoga as the manager, right, of the yoga for a gym, and then of course with the coronavirus happening was that all of those things were closed, and then now there's questions about, and they're going to start back up with her, but only part-time. So there's a lot of questions about what she's going to do. So with justice, you're in that middle place where you are assessing, where you're thinking about a situation and you're trying to decide which way to go. It's the middle card of the deck in many decks, not in all decks, but so it's that crossroads place. Behind her is the 10 of cups, which shows, yeah?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you get that justice card, and it is, as you said, like where someone's trying to decide, how do you discern which path to go? Is that like, do you have any?
So first of all, that depends what comes up in the reading. But second of all, with justice, the most important thing is not necessarily how figuring out the most important thing about the card justice is that you are at a place where it is important to pause and assess which way you go, because it doesn't, how you go depends upon what you decide is true about the path behind you and what you decide is important in the path ahead. So that's really crucial because, you know, we tell ourselves stories about our life, and those stories are what then determines how we make decisions going forward. And, you know, while there's issues with that story making quality, at the same time, in terms of making a decision, you sort of have to decide what the nature of the path behind you is, and then where appropriately do you go ahead. So more than telling people what decision to make, it's more important to recognize that this is a time to pause and assess. So, and justice is also, it's intellectual. It's not so much, there's a certain aspect of from the heart because justice is blind, but it's also an air card. It's the nature of the decision making is, begins with the intellect. So was really happy, and then now sort of feels like, well, you know, lesser status, the Six of Wands reversed. So she feels ready to work and she wants to work. The environment around her, Strength reversed. I mean, you know, it is not a good environment. There's not, people don't really know what's happening. You know, it's not a strong environment, clearly. And the Queen of Pentacles, again, this is a really obvious card. This is what she'd like. She'd like that sense of like comfort and security and success at work and feeling like she can be that, like, you know, the queen of the earth, you know, in the queen of the earth in her own domain. So then we get to the Page of Wands reversed, and with the Wheel of Fortune that also came out here. So who wants to talk first about what they think the Page of Wands reversed means? There. Well, right. Well, Sarah, what came up for you about it? What came up for you about it?
The only thing I could think of is that this new path, like whatever it is, whatever direction that this takes, really takes me looking at things from a brand new slate. So like the drive and the passion, all of that, like, and I'm resistant to it. Like I want to go back into what I was doing, into what I know well. Mm-hmm. And so I'm resisting this energy of being like passionate about doing something that I'm not the king or queen of, and that I have to like run back into.
Right. Okay, so that's good. I think, and that also fits with the three of swords reversed, crossing you, of not really sort of wanting to recognize something, not really wanting to embrace something that would make you feel unhappy. All right, so Dana, so I'll just, everybody just say one thing, whatever it is. What comes up for you about the Page of Pentacles, the Princess of Wands reversed?
Maybe that there's either not able to manifest something new because of maybe lack of, I guess, I don't know why I'm thinking of lack of study, or I'm thinking of not having the right, thinking you don't have the right skills to manifest it.
Mm-hmm. That too. The Princess of Wands is the one who's not afraid to ask the questions and to move forward and to look a little foolish. She's not afraid of it. So inherently, by not being afraid of looking foolish, you don't look foolish. It's like the kid with the emperor's new clothes saying, but he's not wearing anything. And with the Princess of Wands upright, there's definitely the person who's not afraid to ask a question or say something. But with it reversed, you cannot want to look like you don't know what you're doing. Okay, Sheila, your turn. You're paused. There must be a connection issue. Okay, Nisha, you get to go.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
I live on a small island. My connection's terrible. But I was thinking the same thing about that. Maybe Sarah. That maybe you're afraid to start something new because you would look foolish. Like I would say, and especially with the Wheel of Fortune card there, I would say to really try to face your fear.
Okay, good. And Nishi, what comes up for you?
What I was feeling was that maybe you're uninspired, you're refusing to let things like uninspired, trying to revert back to all things that are familiar. And with the Wheel of Fortune card, I don't know, maybe it's some kind of karmic thing that's like, maybe it's a fear you need to face that's from a past life, maybe, or like
doing.
Yeah.
Like just.
Right. So I would say also the one other thing that I would say about I think that all of these are true and all of these are part of it, but there's also clearly a lot that she's processing. There's a number of major cards here. There's Justice, there's the Sun, there's Strength and Strength reversed. So, and the Wheel of Fortune also, which kept falling out. So there's also clear that she feels good about herself on the inside. And so but is still kind of trying to understand a loss without necessarily wanting to give up feeling good on the inside. And I think also with the Wheel of Fortune, there's a sense that like she's waiting for something to impel her in the direction that she should go, that she doesn't really, and with Justice there, she doesn't exactly know, what the right way to go is. Everything that's immediately in front of her to think of is sort of lesser than where she's been. And she's not quite, if she has to do something that's lesser, she's not really ready to embrace that loss yet. She's wondering if she has to embrace a loss. So she doesn't know what to say or what to do or who to ask, especially since there's not much help from the environment around her, really no help. And there's a kind of waiting for something to impel her in the right direction, in the next direction. Because also all of the events around her, other than she feels good on the inside and she knows what she wants, but the circumstances in the past was good, but what all that she can see looking right now is also, like the issue of, financial difficulty or something like that. So I would say that there's, as well as the fact that she needs to find in herself, of course, the willingness to be a beginner again, because with the page of Princess of Wands upright, there's that the beginner's mind, that beginner energy, that not being afraid of it. But she wants to be the Queen of Pentacles. So she doesn't really want to be a beginner again. And so it's also about that. So one could say that yes, she should, she needs to embrace that, but she has other stuff that she needs to process first if she is going to embrace that, because she's also at the Justice phase. She's not at a beginner phase. She's at a middle phase. And the Sun is also a later card in the deck. She has a lot to process about where she is now before she's ready to kind of go back to being a beginner. And she also is looking for a little help for the environment. she feels the need for a little help, and she's not getting any from the environment. She needs something else to step in and show her the direction. And
What's
she's
that environment card? I can't see it. What is it?
It's strength reversed.
Oh, right.
So sometimes the answer is that yes, you need to embrace this, but one thing to do, like, so let's say she didn't like that. This is kind of a trick you can do. So let's say you don't like the energy, then she can try reversing that card. But if she's going to reverse one card in the reading, she has to reverse them all. So if she were to reverse that Princess of Wands, she has to reverse all this other good stuff, and she's also not really thinking clearly, because then justice is reversed. I mean, this is pertinent to your question also, Sheila. What decision do you make when justice is there? In her reading in particular, it is saying you've got some stuff to think about here. And there's some stuff that you have to figure out. Does this mean that you're not acknowledging something that would perhaps make you feel sad, but you have to acknowledge? Or does it mean that, you know, she's not ready to feel sad about where she's been and where she is now? So there's some stuff to process there first, I would say. And she's asking for help for her from a larger environment than the environment that is available to her, because the environment that's available to her isn't really bringing her anything right now. So there, it's also meaningful that the Wheel of Fortune kept kind of popping out or coming out in not just in this reading, but at other times, right, Sarah? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, and the thing that really stood out to me with this one was I had done the reading on a bed in my guest room, and then had like left it there and went back to it the next day. And so the Wheel of Fortune was like very clearly like face up right next to the bed. Like I just totally missed it when I did all of it. And it was like so blatantly like, hello, I am here also for this very same reading. That
right, right. So there's also the notion, as Nishi said, of karma, of like, and the Wheel of Fortune too, you kind of want to find that middle place in the wheel where things don't move. Just a sec, this phone will keep ringing and ringing and ringing, so I'm going to pick it up and set it down again in just a minute. We never set up the answering service on our phone when we moved in like 5 years ago. So now we don't even know how to if we wanted to. So when the phone rings, it just keeps ringing. So also the other thing is, like, in this period of time, there's not much she can do. There's not many places she can go. Like the Princess of Wands also has this energetic, like, go out, ask the questions, do the work, look around, be willing to explore, you know, so there's always some stuff. So that the notion that also supports the idea of, like, you know, that it's not a time to just go knocking on doors necessarily. But I was saying the Wheel of Fortune also, it certainly implies like waiting for the wheel to turn around to bring you something. And it also implies the finding the center, the place where, like, the ups and downs don't affect you, but you're at that central place. So I think that there's, but you're also able to interact with the world. All right, how does that sound, Sarah?
Yeah, that brought up a lot of interesting things for me to think about. When I started teaching yoga, it was from a very disciplined, like structured, like I learned Bikram style yoga, not from him, but that was like the first study I dove into. Mm-hmm. And then I broke away from that. I'm like, oh, yin and vinyasa, and I can do whatever I want. And the new aspect of my job requires me, really, I'm on my own, like self-learning Ashtanga, and it's like Ashtanga-based formats that I'll be teaching to. And so there's a lot of resistance. It feels like going backwards. It feels like, why can't I just do my own thing right now? And maybe that that inspiration of like, that you would have when you're starting something new, it does feel muted, because it's like, oh, but I don't get to pick the new thing. Like I have to do this new thing, but it's like feels a little bit backwards for me. Right. So yeah, that makes sense. Like the resistance that I'm having to it. And the Wheel of Fortune, now that we've talked about it, a lot of times my prayers, and especially with taking this job, like I moved across the country for it just 6 months ago. So it's also a bummer there, like a heartbreak there, because it's like when I came and I was excited and I was ready, and now this is not what I signed up for. But with it, my prayer the whole time was open the doors, I'll walk through them, like I trust, place me where I'm of service. And so like I think that Wheel of Fortune's a much bigger card in my life, of just having that faith that things are cyclical, and that I'll follow the way that's put out there.
Yeah, that's right. And then there's also the stuff like allowing that to lead the way, and then figuring out, like, if you can't access that Princess of Wands energy, what energy do you access to move forward? What do you do? But also the Princess of Wands energy, I think, is very tied up with the Three of Swords reversed. It's like, and there too, where the Justice and the Five of Pentacles, it's like, what are you supposed to think about this, you know? And the aspect of the Five of Pentacles that can be lost, but where there's also some, you know, like where there's also like the lighted window, the place that you can't go in. Yeah. All right, good. So let's move on to the next reading. Let's look at, okay, I'm going to bring up Dana's, and then we'll also look at Sheila's. Anisha, did you send me a reading or not? Wait, just a sec. Sorry, did you send me a reading? Okay. I can't hear you. Just a second. You unmute. There we go. All right.
A few seconds ago. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we'll try to get to all of them. All right. Back to the screen share.
I have a question, Melissa. The Wheel of Fortune, does it often mean like processing? Is it like a processing card? Or is it more, as you said, finding the middle between the high and the low of the wheel?
So the Wheel of Fortune is not the most processing card of the cards in the deck. Because the Wheel of Fortune, usually when it comes up, it implies that you are on the wheel, that something's happening, good or bad, and you're being taken for a ride. If the Wheel of Fortune is upright, it usually means the ride is good. It feels good. And if the Wheel of Fortune is reversed, it can mean that it feels like it's stagnant, like you're not really on the ride, and that's when you more need to process. And the card that follows the Wheel of Fortune in many decks is Justice, which would then be kind of processing. Or it means when the Wheel of Fortune is reversed, it can mean that you're, you know, at the bottom of the wheel right now. The only way in which it has to do with processing is the aspect of up or down, finding the center of the wheel where it doesn't move. But that's a pretty, you know, esoteric or high. Most people, when they're experiencing the good aspect of the Wheel of Fortune, don't really care if they're in the middle or not, because they want to feel the good. And if, you know, if you're feeling the bad part of the Wheel of Fortune, then it can be more appealing to try to find the center. But often an equally appealing message is, you know, it's going to come around again. Like, you're on the wheel. Sometimes it's going to be good, sometimes it's going to be bad, but it's always the wheel. Yes, Nishi.
I was just wondering if the wheel of, is it something that's beyond your control? Is it something that's an external?
The only aspect of control that you have is whether you are on the outside of the wheel experiencing the ups and downs at their maximum, or if you're at the center of the wheel and having equanimity towards whatever is going on.
So controlling your response to whatever's happening.
Right. Internal and external response. Yeah. But the Wheel of Fortune is definitely about fate, stepping in, things that are beyond your control. So interestingly, Dana, I had not looked that carefully at yours. It's interesting that two of the same cards show up there. The Princess of Wands reversed, although then she has the Eight of Swords, and then Justice.
Yeah, Justice still confuses me. I still don't quite, I mean, I listen over and over your meanings, different meanings, and still when I get it, I'm like, does this mean that you will get justice. No, the justice you deserve, good or bad, doesn't mean you're in control of. You have to assess what you've done and make a decision to change the outcome. Or to me, it's just like you're gonna get just whatever you deserve. Period. It's confusing to me as the future.
Yeah, I just asked, are you Catholic? I'm just checking. Are you going to get whatever you deserve?
Yes.
Temporary, yeah, maybe.
Like, oh, sounds familiar.
Yeah, right.
It's I guess I just don't think of this as an overly positive card. I guess it could go either way, and because it's the
well, it's justice. Inherently, it could go either way. Inherently, that's the whole point of it. It could go either way. But I don't. Justice is not like judgment. Would be the one that is more about you get what you deserve. Generally speaking, justice is about making a decision. I mean, I would say I think we'd have everybody say what they think about this. But one obvious thing here is you don't know what to do, and you're still thinking about it.
Yeah.
You feel stuck. That the Eight of Swords, you know, perhaps there with the Princess, all the stuff that we said about the Princess of Wands with Sarah is true for you also. You know, the whole thing of like, you're not accessing that beginner energy, but maybe you don't want to access that beginner energy, or maybe you don't know who to ask. You're not asking, you're not getting out there, but you feel stuck. That's clear. And the reason you feel stuck is because you're still trying to figure out, you're still trying to decide. That justice is about you are weighing your option. You are trying to decide what the story is, which then would determine how you act. Mm-hmm. And you don't know. You don't know. You're still trying to think about it. So does anybody? So let's go down the. Let's see. We'll start with you, Nishi. What do you have to say about these cards for her?
Could I go next? I haven't really looked at them.
Sure.
Properly.
Yeah. Right ahead. Sheila, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, like I'm a harsh interpreter.
What?
I feel that I'm a harsh interpreter.
Okay.
So please, Dana, I don't know, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, of
course. It's my Catholic upbringing, I'm sure. I feel like the Page of Wands reverse just brings up like feeling, and then the Eight of Wands makes me feel like you're stuck in fear.
It's the Eight of Swords.
Yeah. Eight of Swords, that she's stuck in fear. Like there's some fear. The Page of Wands reverse just reminds me of fear, because upright, it really feels like courage to me. Mm-hmm. Like sort of naive courage, you know, young courage.
Right.
And not feeling self-conscious. And so reversed is the opposite of that. And then Eight of Swords is like, sorry?
No, those are true. That's true. She does, there's a real young courage with the Princess of Wands upright. And with it reversed, it's not there. That's true. And there's definitely the quality of being stuck. What do you think about justice then coming up? Sheila?
I feel that she has to follow her intuition. Blind justice sort of reminds me of intuition, being blind, or like using your other senses besides your eyes to find the way, to find her way, or what feels right to her. Justice to me reminds me of stability also. Like, how do we have a sense of justice in ourselves? When you have a sense of justice, there's a feeling of stability there. Like, I know what's right from wrong, and I'm gonna decide. And it's blind. And because of my shaman training, in Mexican shamanism, we see the eyes as something that's too dominant in culture. And so blind justice is a beautiful metaphor, because it's like, well, don't use your eyes. Try to see the problem from a different way. Like, how does your body feel? How How would you, like that? That's what I mean by
I would say intuition
balance.
is correct. The feeling, the justice isn't looking at
The
them,
feeling.
justice is feeling the balance between the two.
Yes.
And hypersensitive to the point, that so it's balanced on that sword edge, hypersensitive to the point where the two come into balance.
Yeah.
Right. So I do, so this is a past, present, future reading, correct, Dana? So past is the Princess of Wands reversed, and then present is the Eight of Swords, and future is Justice. So there is an attempt, I would say, to move out of fear, even though she's stuck in it right now.
Can I ask about, sorry to interrupt, the Eight of Swords being stuck? I interpret that to mean being stuck in my own, by my own perception and in my own, because when I think of this as my own thoughts,
Right.
is that not so much?
That's accurate. That's accurate.
I feel like I'm, whatever it is, it's my thought process that's clouded or something.
Right. Right. Sarah, what do you have to say about it?
If Sheila is like the harshest reader, I'm probably like the most optimistic reader ever. And that's like one of my flaws. I'm like, but look. And like I thought that the Eight of Swords came with this, like you're trapped, but there is a way out that you're just not seeing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that move to justice might be like, because you're looking at it too literally. So you're like closing yourself off to those other options that you might find that way out if you do, maybe go more inward and go back into the feeling and the intuition of it. And I was going to actually ask you a question. When you see something like, okay, Princess of Wands in both of our readings, what comes to me is like, if that energy's blocked, would a way out of this situation be to unblock that energy, like to find a way to relate to upright Princess of Wands and to get more, to ask around, to put out those feelers, like the way that you would work with maybe an imbalanced chakra, like I see that it's blocked. So now like this could be something you could do to get yourself out of it.
Right. So then again, if you unblock, to specifically unblock that energy, if you're just going to turn it around and work with the energy, then it does unblock the Eight of Swords. It also turns justice around. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but here it's like she's stuck, but she's trying to figure out the big question. One could say, if you turn it around, just do something and get out of that feeling of being stuck and don't try to figure it out. Don't try to. Maybe it will be foolish. Maybe it will be foolish. Maybe it won't be the right answer. Maybe you won't have it figured out, but maybe you just need to, if you turn that, if for any reading, if you turn one card around, you have to turn them all around. Okay. If that's how you're going to work with it, you don't have to work with it that way. So I do think that there's a lot here where also like so with the justice, the question, so it's clear that I think all the things that people have said, positive and harsh, or are accurate. And Nishi, actually, before I say any more, what do you have to say about it? Where do you want to come down on the harsh or feel good? Where are you going to come down on that one?
I think I'm probably somewhere in the middle. So the Princess of Wands to me says that maybe there was an inability to move forward. You're stuck. You're not, you're kind of refusing to have the beginner mindset. And that needs to be worked on. And that needs to be worked on is what comes from the Justice card for me. It's because it's a major arcana card. It's like there's a bigger picture. You're working on something bigger. Maybe some issue that's very deep-seated in you that needs to be worked on. And the Eight of Swords, like I think it was Sarah or Sheila who mentioned that it's being stuck of your own free will. Like there's a way out. You're just refusing, like you're not able to move forward right now. You're kind of holding yourself prisoner in a situation that you can easily break out of if you have a new perspective.
Right. So I think that there's something being touched on that's true by everyone. One could say, the harsh reading would be that, you're stuck in fear, but Justice came up upright. She's clearly trying to figure something out. And as Nishi said, she's clearly trying to figure something big out. and is feeling stuck, clearly her own thinking about it too, but she's not really able to do much and not doing much, but she's perhaps with the, but the issue comes like, do you want to figure out the big question? Are you going to try to figure out the big question? In which case you're going to have to deal with not being able to do anything right now because you're trying to figure out something. You're trying to feel your way to a bigger answer. Or, you know, if that's, if that's, or otherwise, you should just do something, do anything, access that beginner energy, and you won't feel stuck, and stop trying to figure out the big answers for now. You don't necessarily have to. But that right now, that the feeling of being stuck is leading her towards trying to ask the bigger question, trying to come to a bigger decision. So, I mean, it would be, yeah. So how does that feel, Dana?
That feels right.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it feels, I could relate to mostly all of it.
Yeah. The good and the harsh and the not so harsh, right?
Yes, totally. Yeah.
I would say, you know, so sometimes too, in doing readings like the, it's good to recognize like the harsh and the most harsh and the least harsh. We tend to have, we usually tend to be too hard on ourselves. And then sometimes there's the tendency to go the other way and be too easy on ourselves, but more often we're too hard on ourselves. Trying to find a middle ground is really where, you know, so I would say also for you, Dana, with this reading, like give this a little bit of time, and then you might want to work with the Justice card and just see what comes up, so that you don't feel like you just stay stuck trying to get to an answer, that trying to find a sense of balance in a bigger picture, you know, that you can, that you're feeling stuck as you do. I would say this. All right, so now let's go to Sheila's. Is this it? Yes. Okay. And all right. So Sheila said in her email that she said she was doing a reading about work, and then she said, "But I think maybe it's about this reading is about love, isn't it?" I would say that generally speaking, when the Three of Pentacles comes up, there's an issue of work involved. Again, it's not, there's nothing that's 100% always true, but usually the Three of Pentacles, and also the Two of Wands tends to be a card that's often about work. That too doesn't always have to be, but there's the idea of possibilities, of enterprise and possibilities. So was this past, present, future, and then another card, or what was the 4-card reading?
It was past, present, future, but sort of all, yeah. And then the 4th is like sort of maybe the protection.
Okay. And what you were asking about work?
Yes.
Okay. So
by the way, I got the Hangman my last reading about work.
So I mean, what I would say looking at this is that you do you have work now? You are working.
Yes, I am working.
Okay, so that's all I wanted to ask. Let me just tell you what this looks like, it says, and then you say, this looks like, it does look like you're working. It looks like you would like to be doing something different from what you're doing.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is not going to change anytime soon. Because of the Hanged Man showing up there, that's been the case, and because of the Tower reverse, it is not yet time to make that decision. Or to make that change. But it says there are possibilities coming up, and you can work on those possibilities, and that you can make small changes. You can't, this is not the right environment in which to make a big change. It's a good environment to learn, to educate yourself. That's also the two of Wands next to the Hanged Man has that, you know, that sense of, you know, like Odin on the Tree of Life, learning. There are things you can learn while you are in this place. that will benefit your work, that you're going to be able to work with, but you can't, and you can keep doing what it is that you are doing in which you're also learning something of importance. It's clear that what you're doing right now has value beyond what you see, but that it's frustrating too, and that it's not yet the time to make the change. Okay, let's see what do other people have to add to that, or what comes up for them. Sarah, do you want to start?
Yeah, I don't know. This one really confused me. I'm glad that you explained it first. Because I saw that, you know, like she's been in limbo or like it's hanging out there for a while. And then it looks like those cards in the middle, you know, are just like you're wanting to get somewhere, but it's just at the very beginning of that. Like it's not going past those 2 or those 3s. Like it's just staying, like you're almost restrained of how much that you can do. And then the Tower reversed, I didn't know how to interpret, but I guess when you're looking at it reversed, you're just thinking like it's a huge change, but it's not the right time for it.
Yeah, it's also, the Tower reverse is a little bit like tremors from an earthquake, but not the full out earthquake that breaks the, so the Tower upright would mean like, okay, make a change, like get out of this situation that's not serving you. And here it's like, you know, this is just not the environment to make the change that you want, especially with the Tower reversed and the Hanged Man on either side of these things. It's just the environment does not support making a major change right now. It's too, there's a little bit, it's too risky, it just doesn't support it. It doesn't support the big change that you'd want to. And what might be involved also, because the Tower has that, I really have a sense about it looking at the reading that it is also saying a lot about her environment and what's possible in her environment. There's a little bit of the sense of chafing there with the Hanged Man and the Tower reversed. She wants to change things more than she can right now.
Yeah, and the fact that there are 2 such strong cards as the external and
Right.
the 2 like are so like minimal on her internal, that she's really trapped by these very big external circumstances.
Right. Dana, what comes up for you?
When I see the 3 of coins about work, I thought that meant really working well together. This, like, whatever the company is that you're keeping, and that whatever skills each of you has, it's important for the group and the whole project. So I'm thinking, I don't know, did you want to go out on your own, but you're still working with a group or something, but that this is a good, beneficial group towards this working goal.
Yeah. The 3 of Pentacles can often have that aspect of working well with others, and as a communal, a joint endeavor. Okay, Nishi.
For me, like Dana, I felt the 3 of Pentacles feels like it's collaborative. You're building something, and it's collaborative with other people, and you know it's creating. It takes a while to build something, so you may not feel it or see it right away. Just give it some time. And the Hangman, it's like you're stuck, but it's good to be stuck right now. It's important to be stuck, because there's something that beneficial that's going to come out of it, or something that you're going to learn. The Tower I found really hard to interpret. And I find the 2 of Wands really perplexing. It comes up for me all the time, and I just don't I don't understand it.
I think the 2 of Wands often is a perplexing card. If you think of the Ace of Wands as as an idea, but like an inspiration sort of thing, the 2 of Wands is kind of like, here's what I can do here's some ideas about I hear, like, I could go this way or this, I could go these ways with it. Here's some ways that I could go. It's like the sense of potential or possibility. It's not necessarily a realized potential. I think the idea within this deck is like the merchant who sent his ships out to sea and is waiting for them to come back. You know, that sort of like I've put the I've made the investment, or I've activated an energy. Let me see what can happen with it. The sense of potential. But I think it's like possibilities. When it comes up reversed, it usually means that there's, you know, like there's not really possibilities showing up for you right now. There's not really a potential. There's in which to follow through with the activation. But the Two of Wands there and the Three of Pentacles definitely has like a strong sense of just like you can do some stuff here. It may not be the big picture of what you want to do, but it's more helpful than you think, and there's more potential there's more that can come out of this period, and more that is like still available for you going forward than you can than may seem apparent, you know, from the Hanged Man and the Tower reversed. So Sheila, how does all that sound to you?
Yeah, it's perfect, actually. All of it. Everyone's readings. Really good. Thank you.
Okay, good. So now let's take a look at Nishi's. I have to pull it up. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Let's see, I'll stop the share for a minute. And, oh, here we go. That's an interesting deck, Nishi. Let's see. So did all the cards came up upright, right? Nishi? Just a second. Nishi, were the cards upright or reversed? Because they came up reversed to me.
All of them are reversed, yes.
All of them are reversed. Okay, wow. All right, let me start this. That is.
This is a bit of actually a very deep, dark reading that I did with another friend. It was basically about. I felt like someone from my past has been messing with me energetically. And we just, for the heck of it, did a reading to see what came up, and this is what came up.
Okay, so I'm going to look at it right side up first because this is a new deck for me. So I just want to see what the cards look like.
All right.
So this is, you got, and were the three cards, did they have any meaning associated with the three cards?
What do you mean?
Well, was it past, present, future, or was it just three cards you picked?
No, I just did like a very random, like what comes up, and I just
okay.
Just so wanted to see the energies that surrounded the issue mostly.
Okay, so you have there's the Eight of, and all these cards were reversed. The Eight of Swords, the Seven of Pentacles, and the King of Cups.
Yeah.
Okay, and they were all reversed.
Mm-hmm.
So the Eight of Swords upright would be the sense of being stuck, but reversed, it's not so much. The Seven of Pentacles upright would be, sometimes it's called failure, but like of a lesser harvest at the very least than one, you know, than one would hope for right now. Yeah. And the King of Cups reverse is the King of Cups upright. The King of Cups is another card like the Two of Wands. The King of Cups is a little bit of a tough card to just sort of sum up in one way. Okay. Because it's like fire of water. So and it is a man with emotions, and we know how well men deal with their emotions. It's like, so it's also like the public man with emotions. So when Dana has said before that she's more comfortable thinking of herself as the King of Cups, that's the most useful approach to the King of Cups. Like, this is the person who can do something creative and be businesslike with it. Now, it may not be the most, we're not talking painting the Mona Lisa, we're talking, doing something in the world that has some kind of creative access of the emotions, but also is a business. Yes.
Could it be using like having a line of business that dabbles in spiritual, like teaching spirituality and things like that?
Yes, although the King of Cups is not right side up, there's definitely a little bit of the emphasis on has a business that's using spirituality,
Yeah.
rather than and it doesn't
Yeah,
mean
no, absolutely. I agree completely.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it would not be a spiritual person. It's
just
not
authentic. Yes,
yeah.
Like there's a bit of inauthenticity, maybe.
There can be a bit. So right side up, right side up, one wouldn't necessarily go so far as to say that there's inauthenticity.
Okay.
There might be a little bit, but it's also like, people have to make a living, and this would be somebody who's put effort into his spiritual path, probably because he had to, because he was a mess. And so now the only thing he can do is teach. I mean, now this is what he does. He can teach, but he's still a mess, Okay. It's like, it's like the therapist who people often go into something like becoming a therapist or a psychoanalyst because they have their own stuff to deal with.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with doing that. It's just that person needs to be very aware of their own stuff that they bring to the table.
Okay.
And reversed, they're maybe less aware of it. Like the picture that I drew in my, I really like the picture that I drew in the colorful deck of a guy on a boat holding a martini glass. It's like the king of, there's that temptation with the King of Cups to like go a little too far, to kind of like overdo it a bit. And to not, that, like you said, that sort of inauthentic aspect. So now we're going to turn it around. But one thing I would say is that right side up, there's the sense of, since you're asking about another person, there's the sense of a difficult past history with another person that still has you bound, that unresolved issues with that person. Whether or not that person is messing with you with that, and I would still like look at the cards and see what I pick up from them. And with the guy sitting there with his eyes closed, there could be something of a feeling of that person messing with you. But there's also a sense of that there's unfinished business between the two of you that needs to be resolved, that like, there's a little bit of a feeling of him still sort of wanting some part of your energy back, whether it's you back or not. And but all the cards were reversed. So that seems to indicate, now that could indicate sort of like the worst expression of the energy, but it also, it certainly suggests that you aren't actually trapped by this person with the Eight of Swords reversed there. And maybe a little bit that he would like to, but there's more of a sense of he's going through a difficult time. This is a person who's not going through an easy time himself. And maybe there's a subconscious desire for some aspect of your energy to be saving him. But there's not really.
I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I'm just saying.
I wouldn't be so sure about it. I mean, like, so some people who are manipulative need other people's energy.
Okay.
In that sense, to say they needing other people's energy in that manipulative sense of
that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And kind of then all these cards can be reversed and they all have people on them. It does seem a little bit like there's this attempt to draw you into a negative energy, but it doesn't really seem like it's going to be successful.
Okay.
What does anybody else have to say about this? So let's see, why don't we start with you, Sheila?
Oh, Sarah wanted to go first.
Oh, Sarah, did you want to go first? Sarah, go ahead. I didn't see. Sarah.
I don't mind, but I can.
Yeah. Start.
I'm sorry, I can go since I'm Dr. Doom.
Well, I didn't see Sarah put her hand up. So Sarah, why don't you go ahead and go?
Well, I was going to say it's interesting that all of their eyes are closed except for the one girl in the Eight of Swords who really becomes prominent when you turn her upside down. So I think that you're able to really look outside of the situation, like, and really step into your freedom here. It looks like his energy is muted, like he's upside down. He might be putting it out there, but it's you're able to block it if you want to. Like what he's trying to grow there is also reversed. So it's like his energy is reversed, what he's trying to grow is reversed. And you could look into that pool and see yourself bound by it, but you're not. Like you have this much greater ability to look up and away from it.
Mm-hmm. Right, I would agree. Dana?
I was just thinking that the two, Nishi is the Eight of Swords reverse, so maybe being able to see a situation clearly or coming out of like that bondage to see a situation clearly. And with the men, I was thinking emotional instability for that king. And then maybe the Seven of Pentacles reverse, like not willing to put in the time to harvest and watch something grow, or like put in time for something to come of it, the relationship or whatever.
Yeah. I wouldn't say the King of, given what you asked, the King of Cups, so this is too where the card has like a particular sort of draw. There is definitely the sense with that person sitting there with their eyes closed of them sort of trying to like get to you psychically. But go ahead, Sheila, what do you have to say?
I agree with Sarah and Dana. And I think it's actually good that they're all reversed, because then there's an ineffectiveness here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that mirroring card, I see a lot of mirroring in this reading, and that might be the key to your protection.
Yeah. I think too that here also with the cards reversed, there's an additional meaning that doesn't actually have to do with any of the specific meanings of the cards reversed. With all these people reversed, I think that there is a little bit of a reflection of, of a negative energy coming from that person. And I would agree too with like, I really like the woman looking up, that you don't have to be drawn into it. That you really don't have to, that you actually really can be outside of it. And that others do get drawn into it. And maybe somebody else also that with that Seven of Pentacles reversed there, that there's somebody else you would sort of like to save from this person's energy, but all you can save is yourself, really, too. So Nishi, how does all this sound to you?
It was very helpful. And yeah, it helped me look at things a bit differently. I guess there's a lot of fear because I knew the person dabbled in meditation and siddhis and things like that. So there's that fear in me that, and my energy, like I keep telling myself I need to learn how to protect my energies more, but it's true. I mean, at the end of the day, it's also a mindset. You have to create this mindset that no matter what happens, you just, you keep going forward and don't let anyone,
Yeah, and I think that also, again, the feeling from here of so maybe he's trying to do some like weirdness on you, like the Seven of Pentacles reversed there, where nothing that you set out to do can grow, can prosper.
That feels correct, yes.
Right, and that you have this sense, like you can be there and you can look and see yourself bound and caught in. But then also with this card, the person looking up, it's like they're still sort of stuck looking at the situation. They're still stuck in the situation, even if they don't have to look there. But at the same time, that person is very central, and there's a little bit of a feeling of like, just fly out of it. This is their little world, not yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that was the feeling I got from it too. Like, this is their world, not yours.
Mm-hmm. So I feel also, I should say, there's a couple things, a couple exercises that I think might be important for you. One is just the really basic, simple one of, sometimes we've done exercises in this class where we like breathe, into the ground, but breathing up from the ground and back down, and then white light, breathing in like white light, protecting yourself with white light, like really simple, really basic, very effective. And then another one is a Hawaiian Hawaiian exercise, energy exercise that is called cutting the cords, where at the end of every evening, you are supposed to, you create, with every exchange you have with someone, you create a cord between yourself and that person. And at the end of every evening, you are supposed to cut the cords. To cut the cords with everyone, even like your children. But every evening you cut those cords so that you are yourself alone. And then the next day you'll create the cords again. But the cutting the cords is sort of important in terms of freeing yourself from others' energy and from these people's energy. I think sometimes people with a lot of Pisces in their chart need to really do that cutting the cord. Okay, so if you guys have a few minutes, let's just talk for a few minutes about going forward. Again, I mean, I'm actually fine. I could continue if you it's fine with me to continue doing this even next, I could still do it next week at this, that would be fine, but we could also take a break and you could email me about the best times for you. And also I think an interesting thing would be like what's like, I think this was kind of good, the whole thing of going through readings and looking at them and talking about what they mean. I think that's kind of a good way to start to learn how to do it. But let's just talk a little bit, and you can email me about what do you want to do going forward. Is this something that we've been doing it for a while now? Is this something that you can keep doing or want to do? Nisha, you just started, but
yes, I'm really enjoying interpreting readings. I feel like learning the card meanings is something I personally could do on my own by reading about it, but the practical aspect of like analyzing everything together cohesively, like this really helps, because I find it really hard to like interpret a situation that the cards are talking about, and that's what I struggle with. Like individually I can just study them, but and I have no problem with that. So I love this. Okay. Even if you have to go like fortnightly or once a month, like I would so love it if I could keep doing this, and you could devote the time to it.
Okay. Sheila, what about you?
Yes, I absolutely love it. And I would run 1,000,000 miles to come to class every week. Because to echo Nishi, this is special. Hearing you interpret everybody's reading, and of course my own, just hearing you interpret the readings, I learned so much. It's because there's so much there that I don't know.
Okay, good. Sarah, is this still something you can do this time and all?
Absolutely. Next week I won't be here, but if you guys hold class, I will watch it on YouTube afterwards. And yeah, I'm really appreciating now getting into the readings. I feel like now that we have a foundation of what the cards are, to see how they interplay with each other, is something that you just can't get without the experience. And so to be able to hear everybody's opinions on it opens my eyes to other aspects.
Okay. And Dana, what about you?
Yes, absolutely. I'm here. But I feel a little selfish though, because I almost feel like I don't really have a desire to ever read for anyone else. So I almost feel like this is just me and myself. So that I feel a little selfish with your time. That's all.
Oh, but I think that's good. That's fine. That's not like, it doesn't matter whether you have the intention to read for anybody else. The cards can be a tool that you do that with, or it can be a tool that you use for yourself in your own practice, for your own understanding. It's not necessary to be planning to read for other people. So then I actually, like I said, teaching this class is fun and easy for me. So I'll just keep going forward. If I have to take a break at some point because of my schedule, I will, but we can do it. We can meet again next week at the same time. And if I have to shift the time a little bit, then I'll just be in touch with you about that. I guess, ideally, it's nice to be able to go over everybody's reading. It can be nice to have like if you know others who'd be interested, it can be nice to have like a couple of other people just to get, you know, a little bit of variety. So I may put out something to see, but if you know anybody, that would be good too. So, all right, let's do one final Om, and I will see you again next week. All right. Om. All right, see you later. And it's good if you to email me a reading prior to the class, if possible. It makes it a little easier to be ready to go. All right, talk to you
Thanks
later.
so much,
Bye,
Melissa, and
everyone.
thanks for continuing.
Sure, my pleasure. All right, talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.